guard is really deeply connected to Jiu Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu in particular, and it's something that kind of makes Jiu Jitsu very different to a lot of other grappling arts. We use the guard a lot. We have different options in the guard as well, and different positions in the guard depending upon where our opponent is. So obviously we covered the closed guard, where we're able to wrap our legs around our opponent's hips. But sometimes we're not able to wrap our opponent's hips properly with our legs, so we can use other options as well. Okay, so there's another option from here where we're controlling one leg. Okay, so this would be a half guard. And there's lots of different options from the half guard. Okay, so we can either have our legs in front here, okay, or if my opponent passes that leg, okay, we can have our legs locked off at the back. I'm just going to show one example of what we can do from like a classical kind of half guard lock when my opponent's shoulder is in front. Okay, so typically from this position, okay, Ollie's objective is to control the underhook and the inside line. So he'd be wanting to control, okay, the cross face, okay, and he's going to want to be underneath my arm. What this allows Ollie to do is it allows him to flatten my shoulders off. Okay, from that position, he can start using this as an opportunity to start passing the leg that's being controlled. So just as an example from here. Okay. So just an example from here, he slides the knee out, okay, and he uses that as a way of being able to get to a more dominant position like side control, for example. For me, I need to fight the underhook. Okay, so the main difference between whether I'm attacking or defending from the bottom is whether I have my underhook or whether Ollie has his underhook. So what I want to do from this position is I want to avoid my back from being flat. Okay, so from here, if Ollie has already passed my knee, I'm going to shrink my hips out to the side. Okay, and the idea from here is to control the inside line for myself. So I'm controlling across the shoulders, and I'm preventing Ollie from being able to cross-face me by controlling this arm. Okay, and then from this position, I can start using this to be able to start fighting for my underhook. Okay, but we're going to look at one example where Ollie has already established his half guard, okay, and his top control by controlling the underhook and the crossface. Now, from this position, okay, what we find from here is because I can't fight for the underhook anymore, I can start using, okay, an off balance with my legs instead. Ollie's put a lot of emphasis on controlling the upper body here. So what tends to happen here is the hips become light, okay? And he starts exposing this area on the left here, okay, where there's no posting opportunity for him. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to control his arm by pinching my elbow in. I can either grab the belt, okay, or I can just grab my own belt here. I'm going to tuck my feet in here. Okay, and what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to either control the armpit or the hip on this direction, okay, and I'm going to start using my hip movement here, okay, to off balance Ollie to his left side. And from here now, I start winning that top position. I've got the underhook here, I've got the cross face. The only thing I've got to be aware of is the fact that he can potentially do the same thing from here as well. So in order for me to stop myself from doing this, I'm going to switch my hips. I'm going to drop my hips to the floor, and I can start using this to start exposing my knee and start moving into a more dominant control position on top.